2.7c. And this is just some of the problems that you're going to be doing. Just see if we can help you through here. So let's do consecutive integer problems. Let's jump down to number 14. The sum of 3 consecutive even integers. Okay, so this is one of the things I do. When it says the sum of 3 consecutive even integers, I first of all write my consecutive even integers. And it wants 3 of them. If it asked for consecutive odd integers, I would write the exact same thing. Remember, it does not change depending on whether it's even or odd. It says the sum of these is negative 108. Find the numbers. So now I can take, because I have plus signs in front of the parentheses, I can just take the parentheses off. They were minus signs, remember you have to change everything in the parentheses. So now I can add those. 3x's plus 6. Subtract 6. Divide by 3. Those go away. So x is 114 divided by 3 is 38. Because I have a negative over a positive, I get a negative answer there. So that's one of the answers. My other answer says I take negative 38 and add 2 to it. So my next one is going to be negative 36 because I added a positive 2 to a negative. The next one says I add a 4 to that negative 38. And I get a negative 34. So my 3 consecutive integers are right there. The only hard part on this is to know this answer and this answer. When you add positive, you go up in value. Negative 38, negative 36, negative 34. You don't go 38, 40, negative 42. Okay, wrong way. So this is what makes it confusing, is that part. So let's look at some when it comes to interest. Let's look at number 20. So we have an accountant that has money in 3 accounts. One pays 9%, one 10, and one 11 in interest. He has twice as much invested at 9 as he does at 10, and 3 times as much as at 11 as he does at 10. If the total interest of the 3 accounts is $610 for the year, how much is invested at each rate? And they gave you a hint. Let X be the amount invested at 10%. Okay, so let's write each one of these 3. First of all, let's put the formula for our interest up here. I equals rate times principal. So if you remember, what we're doing is we're taking the interest rate times how much money we invested, multiplying those, and this is how much money we got from our investment. Alright, so we put 3 different amounts in the bank. And we put some at 9%, some at 10%, and some at 11%. Okay, so how much is that sum? Well, it says here in the problem, let X be the amount that we invested. So let's say that this is the amount we invested. This is our P, our principal. And it says let X be the amount we invested at 10%. So how much did we invest at 9%? Twice as much as at 10%. So twice X. And at 11%, it says 3 times what we invested at 10%. So now, according to this formula here, if I take the rate times the amount, my P, I will get how much money I made off of that. If I take 10% times X, I will get the amount I made off of that. And if I take 11% times 3X, I will get the amount I made there. And if I add those together, all 3 of these amounts that I get here, that I put an I there for, I will get $610. So when I add these answers together. So I have 9% times 2x plus 10% times x plus 11% times 3x. And that gives me $610. Alright, so remember, we cannot do the math with percentages, so we have to make them into decimals. So, whoops. So notice I moved all the decimals 2 over to the left. Okay, so let's multiply these numbers through. So this gives me 0.18x when I do that. Nothing changed there. And this gives me 0.33x equals 610. So I'm going to add all these x's together. And I get 0.61x equals 610. So divide both sides by 0.61 in order to find my x, and that goes away. So 610 divided by 0.61 equals $1,000. So $1,000 is the amount I invested at 10%, because that's my x value that I was looking for, and the x goes with the 10%. So to find the amount I invested at 9%, I take 2 times x, 2 times 1,000, so that's 2,000, and at 11%, 3 times x, which is 1,000, 3 times 1,000, which is 3,000. So I get 2,000, 1,000, and 3,000. That's how much I invested at each percent. Okay, so the mixture problems. I'm going to do number 24 because it's another one of those dumping ones. So I've got my little canister here, and I've got a 70% solution of antifreeze, and I've got another canister here, and that's a 40%, and I'm going to dump my antifreeze out into a bigger container, and when I'm done I want to have a 50% solution, and I want to have 30 gallons. Okay, so the amount I'm dumping out of this one is x. The one I'm dumping out of this one is the total amount I want minus what I'm dumping out of the one on the left. So pretty much that's the setup here. So I'm just going to take 70, might help if I write my numbers right, 70% times x plus 40% times how much I'm adding there. That will give me 50% times how much I want there. Alright, so 0.7x plus 0.4 times 30 minus x equals 0.5 times 30. So I change the percents to decimals. 0.7x plus 0.4 times 30 is 1.2 minus 0.4x equals 15. Okay, sorry, it is not 1.2, it's 12, isn't it? I'm going to have to fudge that up there, right there. Okay, so 0.7x minus 0.4x is 0.3x plus 12 equals 15. 0.3x, subtract 12 here, subtract 12 here, equals 3. And I'm going to divide by 0.3, divide by 0.3, and that goes away. And my x is 3 divided by 0.3, which is 10 gallons at 70%. Okay, because that's what I've got up here. I've got a 70% solution with x, and x is 10. So this is going to be 30 minus 10, so we have a 20 gallons of a 40% solution. And that's it for the mixture problem. Let's jump into the triangle problem, then call it good. Alright, so let's get our triangle here. And let's look at number 32. One angle is 50 more than the smallest. Okay, so we've got x there. It's the smallest one. One angle is 50 degrees more than the smallest. So it's 50 degrees more. The third one is 3 times the smallest. Find the measure of each angle. So again, if we add these all up, we get 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and x plus 50. Take the parentheses off because there's a plus sign in front of it, so we can just drop it. Let's add our x's to this. And subtract 50 from both sides. I get 5x equals 130. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. And we get x equals 26. So if x equals 26, then 26 plus 50 will give us that angle. 26 times 3 will give us that angle, and when we add up all three of those angles, we better get 180 degrees. And just to real quickly look at number 29, that's one that you're going to have to do. It says the smallest angle in a triangle is 1/5 as large as the largest. So it's 1/5 as large as the largest, and we'll make the largest x, and the third angle is twice the smallest. So this one is actually 2 times 1 is 2/5 x. So there's the medium one, there's the big one, there's the smallest. So you're going to add those up. And get 180. So again, this is 1 over 1, so you have to find common denominators, so we'll make it 5 over 5. So add those up. 5, 6, 7, 8. Divide, divide, which means you're inverting and multiplying. And then you should get the right answer then. And numbers 33 on up, I'm just going to leave those to you. They're going to be a little challenging, but you need to have some challenges there. Look at the tables for 33 anyway. But the rest of them, you're going to have to work at making tables if you can. If you need any help, let me know.